So a little while ago I made a video about Voltron Legendary Defender, in particular one character called Keith who has kind of an oddly shaped sword. Now I made a replica of the blade to show the problem I think you would have if you used one of these in real life. Basically the handle's perpendicular to the blade, so when you get deflected by an enemy it's going to rotate in your hand, leaving you open to get your head chopped off. Now a lot of Voltron fans saw that video and jumped in the comments to ask further questions about how the sword works, suggest ways I could have changed it. Some people were saying, hey, it's a show about magic robot space lions, maybe the sword isn't the point where you start disbelieving the science. No, I stand by it. Anyway, I'm going to kind of address some of the questions people asked and maybe try and alter the sword to make it work a bit better. Okay, so I've got my enemy here. That's the helmet from my Pikachu Wastelander costume, which actually I just completed and did a photo shoot of in an actual wasteland, kind of. Go check out my latest video on that. Wink, wink, cross promotion. Anyway, in the last video I made about this sword, I said that if you thrust like this, then they're gonna deflect it up or down and it's gonna rotate in your hand. A lot of people said just rotate the sword like this, that way they can't deflect it up or down. Yes, that's true, they can't deflect it that way, but now you have the exact same problem but on a horizontal axis. Now they can just deflect left or right. And to be honest, that's probably a more common way to deflect a thrust in sword fighting, I think. So that way might actually be worse. A lot of people said it doesn't matter because Keith only swings his sword and he never thrusts it. Yeah, he doesn't thrust a lot, but he does do it. I mean, I showed clips of him doing it in the video. I don't know how else I can prove it. At one point in the video I talked about how this sword was actually pretty well weighted because the Bayard functioned kind of like a pommel. Many people talked about how the sword is like kind of like a hard light, which is essentially weightless. A couple people made comparisons to the sword from Halo or lightsabers to the fact that the blade has no weight to it, which is really hard for me to imagine. How would I do a test of how a weightless sword works? Because I can't make that. I would just have to make a handle with nothing on it and just swing that around. If it's weightless, does it have mass? And if it doesn't have mass, then how would you know when it's hit an object that it can't penetrate? Because it has no mass, and that object does have mass. I would like to do some video though about weightless swords. I don't know how I would do it. Anyway, all of this is leading to the fact that many people reminded me there are indeed swords that exist in real life that have a handle perpendicular to the blade. Now, most of them have a blade quite a lot shorter than this, but some of them are quite long. And to counteract this whole rotating in your hand thing, they had kind of a connection that would go to like a gauntlet or a bracer and attach to your forearm. Maybe we can add one of those to this. Here's a montage of me making the thing to connect to this. Booty-bow, ba-ba-ba-da-ba-bow, I'm making the thing that connects to my arm. Is it finished? Improving the sword. So here's what I came up with. It's nothing too complicated, just basically a thing that kind of extends out, goes over to your wrist, and then I've just got a belt that goes around your wrist to stop the thing from rotating, and it works pretty well. I tried to keep the same design style, and I think it actually looks pretty dope. So what do you think of my addition to the blade? Do you think they should have added something like this in the show? Or do you think the show should have just had some throwaway line where they were like, oh, the Bayard has magic energy that makes the thing not rotate? Okay. Either way, this feels very fun to hold. I feel cool. I'm a cool guy. Also, a lot of people wanted to buy this. I mean, I guess I didn't spend a lot of time measuring it up properly. It's very uneven, but maybe not. I do have an Etsy, link in the description, as is my Patreon. Anyway, catch you later.